Hi, this is Graphically Alex coming at you with all things fat related. If that's something that interests you, please subscribe. I'd love to have you. And today we're going to be covering body image with Bri. I I have like a little bit of a I want to say like there's an irritation I have with her. I don't know if it's the way she talks or what it is exactly, but she irritates me. That's why I typically don't cover her, because I've had some of you guys ask me to, and I'm like, let's go. Let's go for it. I think I'll be okay now. But I think when I was like in the Cal Def and all that, it would have been too much. But I mean, I still technically am in a Cal Def, but it's just very small. So I think I can handle it, but we're on the edge. We're on the edge here. So let's see what we got. Let's see what this bloater has to say. We got a bloater. I haven't done this in a while. So let's go.
3rd, 2015. If I was told that I would never lose another pound doing this detox, I wouldn't do it. If it were purely for health reasons, I wouldn't do it. I don't think it would be worth it. I think it's threefold. One, I am mad. I am angry that at 25, I have to worry about my diet like a 45-year-old with diabetes. Guess.
Well, it's because of what you did to yourself. She doesn't want to hear that. But I feel like I should let it go all the way, and then we'll...
My thought was always, I want to address it before it becomes a problem. But what is the problem? It's not health, it's weight. It has always been about the scale. 2, I'm sad. I feel like I'm missing out. When I detox, that I can't enjoy life's pleasures. I'm denied food that most people have no problem eating. I feel like I've missed out on so much because I've never had the body I've wanted. I never got to perform or act or sing like I wanted because I didn't have the body. I never danced because I did not think I could be elegant or sexy. I blame my fat for my singleness. Didn't go to prom with a boy who liked me because of fat. Fat has robbed me of experiences I can never get back. I can't be 15 again. Can't go to senior prom again. And I think that's pathetic. I think I'm pathetic. I keep holding on to a dream that won't come true. That I have to accept that fat may never leave. I have to accept that my health issues will never be resolved, resulting in me having the body that I want, the body I think I need. I have let fat make so many calls for me through the years, and I'm tired. I don't want fat to take any more from me. 3, I'm scared. What comes next? Can I love myself at 24? At 34? What if fat leaves and I'm the number that the doctors tell me I should be and I still don't love myself? What if even worse, no one else loves me? I have dieted, detox, tried to lose weight for 15 years. And I'm taking 1 year off to just live, to try and figure out how to like myself, how to figure out how. November 3rd.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So what we can say right off the bat, 0 doubts, 0 questions. She is deep in the E followed by the letter D. She is dealing with bingo, binge, very severely. At the time that she wrote this, she was likely at a clicker stage. I like to use zombies she's a bloater now. So now she tries to spread it to as many people as she can and encourage people, and her whole life is about it. It's about the DIS order. But back then, I think it was more about her personal problem. And it is sad, but it's also like, I have a different view of it, especially the more distance I have from the toxic ritualistic. It's kind of like looking at an abusive relationship with a very clear view, years down the line. So there's no, like, I cannot romanticize the TR, the toxic ritualistic. That's what it stands for on the channel, which is it's a coded term for E followed by letter D. I can't romanticize the TR. I can't act like I'm falling out of love with it. I can't act like I'm lost without it. I can't act like those things anymore. If you want to see me in those stages, that was 2024. That's when I was like that. But at this point, I am so far removed from it. Hold on a second. Okay, sorry, I just had to cough. I'm so far removed from it that I don't have very much emotion at all towards it. And looking at her today, so if I were reacting to her at 25 writing this, or if she had just written it, I would have a very different view, rather than her presenting this 10 years later as some kind of victory, as some kind of recovery. It's extremely manipulative. So what I see is just somebody who is not at all innocent in what she's currently doing, somebody who is being incredibly manipulative, has to have music in the background, has to do all this stuff to try to create an emotional response about something. Because if I were to look at it plainly, and likely from the perspective of people who have never been in the toxic ritualistic, I would say it looks like nothing changed. It looks like you didn't recover at all. At all. So if anything, you just got worse, because you're framing your lack of recovery as some kind of a recovery, which is wild. And then you're trying to teach other people to do that, which is just horrifying. So I can't view this super like empathetically or super like emotionally. I don't think what she's doing is emotional. I think it's manipulative. So I think what she's doing today, or, this was November, it's very calculated. And it's more about like her inner goal of spreading it. And it's more about like, if anything, in a more mundane sense, just her own business. It's not about anything else. So I view it very coldly, actually. And, looking at it, how other people in the issue would look at this, they'd be so reinforced watching that. So reinforced. And to those of you who have never had the issue, you might be like, oh, that's weird. Like, how could anybody listen to that? When you're in it, that like makes sense to you. And I've told you, bingo in particular, I do understand that. I am learning and understanding that Anna, when you're talking to Anna, it is reinforced visually. Bingo isn't like that. Bingo is reinforced emotionally and verbally. So if you think of like the music, the tone that she's saying it, the words, the concept of self-love, like all these types of things, she's also using those spiritual concepts to push the DIS order. That's incredibly reinforcing to somebody dealing with bingo. Incredibly reinforcing. And I think it's intentional. And I am starting to think that way about, I don't want to get into this because people are going to get all extra, but I feel like Ariana's doing the same thing. I'll just say that. So I don't really view her that innocently. Because there's just certain things, certain pictures and stuff that she's taken and done. And I'm just like, you know, especially if you understand that visual reinforcement. But yeah, when it comes to bingo, this is extremely reinforcing. Okay, like I need to be clear about that. So if you guys have dealt with other issues, you may not understand that, but the emotionality of it is incredibly reinforcing. So if you take out the visual and put the emotional into it, that's how strong that this is. That's how strong what she's doing is. So I'm going to go ahead and break it down. We're going to watch it again.
2015. If I was told that I would never lose another pound doing this detox, I wouldn't do it.
So I think that that would be a fair perspective if you're extremely over, you know, if you're super morbidly obese and you're being told that the program you're trying to do or the goal that you're trying to do is not going to weight normalize whatsoever, I don't think you should do it. I think you should shift it a bit. Weight normalization is a part of recovery. It is a difficult part of recovery. I do think it comes a little later in the process than, you know, a lot of people would like. I understand that. Even when I was getting out of bingo and I had to maintain for a while, people were pissed. They wanted me to, you know, downsize immediately, and I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it right away. I had to get my nutrition up, which I've told you guys, you got to get your nutrition up. No matter what issue you have, get your nutrition up. Don't make me say, get your fucking nutrition up. I don't want to cuss, but get it up. No matter what issue you have, you're all fucked up. Okay? So I had to do that before I could start to downsize. And I had to kind of like, you know, not look in the mirror as much, like do certain practices. So not obsess over appearance, become more body neutral, and do like some of those psychological aspects before. So you have to start that shit right away, like immediately. But then I did start weight normalizing. You know, I did my thyroid protocol, and yeah, when I started counting, then it started to happen, and I was able to because I wasn't. I was dealing with the hormonal issue I had, so I have to be careful about how I talk about it because YouTube is crazy. So basically, if it were to never get her towards weight normalization, then it isn't a good program. It's not a good thing she's doing. I think that's a logical response. She's framing it as if it's mean or, you know, too, or cruel or something, that she thought that.
If it were purely for health reasons, I wouldn't do it.
Well, you have to break out of that a little bit because I couldn't immediately downsize. And so I had to let that go for a while. Because I did have to put my health first, and your health should always come first above any, you know, weight normalization efforts. Your health has to come first. Now, obviously, weight normalization is a huge part of your health, but once again, you need to get your nutrition up. It doesn't matter what you're recovering from. You need to get your nutrition up. Get your, I want to cuss today. Get your iron in. Get the calcium in. Get your vitamins and minerals. Get your fat-soluble vitamins. Figure out your carb-fat balance that you personally need. Figure it out. Because you can't even think clearly until you get to that point. So it's like, I'm very, very big on like, especially in recovery, intentional nutrition. So like very intentional nutrition, because they all have issues with nutrition. All of them do. So, yeah.
I don't think.
And stop obsessing over the mirror.
I think it would be worth it. I think it's threefold. One, I am mad. I am angry that at 25, I have to worry about my diet like a 45-year-old with diabetes.
Yeah, I think it's sad, but that's because of what you've done to yourself, which within bingo, the logic behind it, I've told you guys many times. A lot of people, again, they get obsessed with the addiction narrative, which I don't think is that helpful because it's not just about pleasure, it's also about pain. And so a lot of those aspects, it's a self-sabotage. It has to do with controlled pain because if I can control it, then it hurts less or something. I don't know. Like I said, I mean, not I don't know. I do know the logic, but it's stupid. Basically, it is dumb logic. It is delusional. But that's what you think. So it's okay, and you have to make it into this game and be like, oh my gosh, I'm doing this. I'm on this program. I'm doing better. I'm going to do amazing. I'm going to do all these things. Da, da, da. Then you fail. Then you really play up the failure. Okay. Then, oh my gosh, I don't know. Da, 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 blah, 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 blah. Right? And then you'll be like, this is rebellious and da, 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 you know. It's that kind of thing. So you have like those three emotions within bingo. But I guess the cycle is a little bit different. It's more so the I'm doing amazing, blah, 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 than the I want to break the rules and I want to rebel and I'm going to do this and this is so like devious and oh my gosh and like I don't care what society thinks of me, I'm going to do it anyway and you're just trying to control me, da da da. And then it's oh my gosh, I'm a failure and I just can't even, I can't believe this and da da da. And you just repeat that like 20 bajillion times basically. And the more you repeat it, your brain just gets completely fried basically. And then you can reach a point where you hardly ever reduce, you know, you hardly ever are reductive. And then you could just be chronically overdoing it. But I think it just kind of devolves and you can get to this point where your cycle will happen within a day. So that happens a lot in severe cases. So it's like, I think I shouldn't. And then by the night you're playing bingo, basically, just because you had a thought that you should, that becomes enough, right? So it's like, it's crazy. It is. But when I hear that, I'm like, well, you were self-sabotaging. You wanted to feel that way. You wanted that. Even if you didn't know you wanted it, because it can be subconscious and visceral and all these things. By 25 years old, there's been a lot of years. She said she had done it for 15 years. That's very severe. So by that point, this is where you wanted to be. And I don't think it helps anybody to shield from accountability. I really don't. Because accountability is where you actually get out. If you're sitting here blaming everyone else all the time and all this crap, it's not going to work. And it doesn't work for this issue because it's literally about control. It is literally about control. So it doesn't work. I'm not buying it, you know, I'm not reinforcing it either. It's like, no, you wanted to end up here. If you wanted to get out, you would. Yeah, it would be hard. Yeah, it could take years. Yeah, it could be a bitch to do, but you would. If you wanted to, you would. Because especially at a severe level, when you're real big, it is a lot to keep up. And it is hella intentional. And again, I speak as somebody who has been there. Now, was I totally nuts? Yes, I was. Was I delusional? Yes, I was. But did people tell me to stop? Yes, they did. Did people criticize what I did? Yes, they did. Did I listen? No, I didn't. That was a choice. It was a choice. And that's one of the hardest things about recovery from a severe level is you have to accept what you did. And you have to forgive yourself for what you did. And that's really tough. But a lot of people like her, they just advocate to externalize blame and not forgive yourself, not actually deal with that, with the grief of that. but to just externalize it onto other people and never actually deal with it and never get out of the problem. That's what it is. She's not out.
I guess my thought was always, I want to address it before it becomes a problem. But what is the problem?
So many problems, honey. You probably are very dissociated from your body at this point. So there's just hella problems.
It's not health, it's weight. It has...
Didn't she say that she couldn't even wipe anymore? Or something like that? Or I think that was something with her. It might not have been, but I don't know.
Always been about the scale, too.
That's TR. It's very toxic ritualistic.
I'm sad. I feel like I'm missing out. When I detox, that I can't enjoy life's pleasures.
It's because you can't find pleasure out of the TR, which is bad. You know, the repetitive behaviors, it wires the brain. There's that neuroplasticity, and you become attuned, and you do have hormone responses to the cycle and to the behaviors, but it's through repetition. So by repetition, it's wired in the brain. By repetitious recovery, it's unwired in the brain. So you have to be just as repetitious on the way out. So it's every day, I'm not going to obsess about the mirror. I'm not going to obsess about the mirror. Nope, I don't do that anymore. 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 And people are like, I feel like for those of you who have never had the problem, you hear me talk like that and you're like, what the fuck? And it's like, no, it really is that repetitive. It really is. Like if it's, oh, I could never lose weight. 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 They're saying that all day in their head. All day. Every day. All day, every day. And people will be like, that's not true. It's true. If you're severe, it's true. Because it takes a freaking constant campaign. Constant. To stay in what she's doing. It is a struggle. When you are severe, it is a bitch to do that. And now that I'm not doing it, I can be like, oh my God, I'm so relieved. Oh my God. It was horrible. It was so much work, so much money, so much time, so many digestive problems, so many just like, ugh. Bye.
I'm denied food that most people have no problem eating.
Well, by a certain point, you might have damaged your metabolism a bit, so you have to shift things around. And it's not always permanent, but it can be until you're better. You know, I don't think it's... Like, I can have some things now that I couldn't when I was in the beginning of my thyroid recovery. I can have things now. Like, my diet has grown, basically, and I think that should be the goal, is to get healthy enough to be able to integrate some things back. But, you know, I don't really want the cartoon foods as much, so I don't have the dyes and all that crap, because I just want, like, real food, which I know is a wild thing, but that's what I want.
I feel like I've missed out on so much because I've never had the body I've wanted.
Well, that's sad. But again, it's also subconsciously intentional. So look at how many things she uses her weight as an excuse for. And this was the intention.
I never got to perform or act.
Now, I'm going to be the brutal bitch in the room. You may not have been able to anyways. Even if you were thin, you might not have been good enough. But you didn't have to deal with that failure or the potential risk of that failure because you could blame your size.
Or sing like I wanted because I didn't have the body.
Maybe you didn't have the talent. Maybe you didn't have the skill. Maybe there were other issues that were a part of it. Maybe you would have been outcompeted. And you know what? If you would have been thin, you would have had to sit with that. But instead, you blame your size. See? Controlled pain, controlled failure. So that's intentional. Now I can just end up not performing anyways. I can end up not doing anything anyways, and it is difficult. That's one of the hardest things about being average is it's all on you. And everything is kind of just, well, I couldn't pull it off. It's that kind of thing. It's like, well, I wasn't good enough for this. And it is what it is. It's like, oh, like back in January and February, I was kind of flopping on YouTube. And it's like, ooh, I'm not doing well. And it has nothing to do with my weight, Ouch. It hurts, Because there were certain points where I could, like when I was mid-size, I could blame my weight a bit because there was a little bit of a factor, but it wasn't the truth then. So then what? She doesn't ever want to feel that. And I didn't like feeling it. I really didn't. It was awful, actually. But when you finally let that go, it's like, okay, well, being fat is a choice. So once you let go of that choice, then it's like, oh, I just failed. Oops. Oh, maybe I'm just not that good. You see what I'm saying? That's hard to accept. It's really hard, but that's what it takes.
Never danced because I did not think I could be elegant or sexy. I blame my fat for my singleness.
Again, you might not have been able to anyways. You might not have been good at it.
Didn't go to prom.
The singleness piece, there's tons of fat people that get married every day. So that's just Delulu.
With a boy who liked me because
there's plenty of fat people that go to prom.
Because of fat.
But maybe you weren't likable. I'm just going to be real. Maybe you weren't. Sorry. I mean, she's making me say it, It is what it is. It happens. Do you think every single thin person can go to prom with the date they want? When it doesn't happen, they have to deal with it. They were rejected. Nobody asked them. They couldn't afford to go. Whatever else. They have to deal. But you just blame your size.
Fat has
and that is the goal of the TR.
Robbed me
See?
Of experiences I can never get back. I can't be 15 again. Can't go to senior prom again.
She's tormenting herself with all these memories so that she can then bingo. That's what this journal entry is. It's stirring up emotion. And especially if she's 35, reading that, it's so dramatic to be like, I can't be 15 again when you're 25. Like 25 is still really young. And especially from a 35-year-old perspective, it's like, oh my gosh, bye, And it's like, so her reading this now, it's like, ew, what are you doing? What are you doing, Auntie? Like, it's not going to be me. And if I have an auntie moment and I read a journal entry from when I was 25, you bet your asses I'm going to be talking about how fucking crazy I was. I'm going to be like, look at how nuts I was. Let's look at how crazy Auntie was when he was 25. Let's look. Let's go to the freak show. Because it's like, oh my gosh, I could not take that shit seriously. I was crazy. I really was. Like, it was, ugh, gosh, get me out of here.
And I think that's pathetic. I think I'm pathetic.
I have like some horrible poetry, like from when I was like 21, and I just would rather die than read that to you guys. Honestly, it is horrible. It is horrible. Horrible. Horrible.
Keep holding on to a dream that won't come true.
Like, I could never read it and be like, oh my God. Because I know it's like crazy BS. Because I'm auntie now. It's like, Bri, shut up, Bri. Gosh, driving me nuts.
That I have to accept that fat may never leave.
If you choose for it not to. You're choosing for it not to.
I have to accept that my health issues will never be resolved, resulting in me.
That's super toxic. Oh my gosh.
Having the body that I want.
So some health aspects are in our control and some aren't, or some we can mitigate risks. So being hugely overweight is obviously a huge risk factor for a lot of things, and it's something you can control.
The body I think I need. I have let fat make so many calls for me through the years, and I'm tired. I don't.
Replace fat with the TR, and that's a more accurate picture, which that is sad, but also leave it. You drop that belief system like a sack of potatoes. It's stupid. You drop it. You crush it like a freaking cockroach, or you look at it like a viperous snake in your mind and you beat that thing with the stick until it's dead because it's toxic. These ideas are toxic. They're toxic, ritualistic. It's bad. So you make fun of it or you smash it like a cockroach. That's what you do. Those are your two responses. Those are the two acceptable responses to these thoughts. Make fun of or smash viciously. That's it. That's my advice.
I don't want fat to take any more from me. I'm scared. What comes next? Can I love myself at 24? At 34? What if fat leaves and I'm the number that the doctors tell me I should be, and I still...
I love that she's trying to act like she got somewhere. Girl, time stood still from my perspective. You're still crying reading this.
I don't love myself. What if even worse, no one else loves me? I have dieted, detoxed, tried.
So it's sad. I think the love piece and all that stuff, those are guttural feelings, and they're difficult feelings, and they're human feelings. And I do think we have to deal with them, and we can't use a toxic ritualistic coping mechanism to make them go away. We need to face these things. And I think it would be shocking for Bri to realize that thin people have to deal with those questions about love and being loved and all that stuff too. Those are universal questions for the vast majority of people, unless if you're just like a total sociopath or something, or you have no feeling, you know. But people that have feelings, they have to question those things. And those are human questions, and those are conversations we could have with more compassion and grace. But it's not an excuse for the TR. It's not. Not at all.
Wait for 15 years. And I'm taking 1 year off.
But it's not a zombie emotion or a zombie fear to have. So I can appreciate that human to human. But again, I think the bigger thing is the question of if you can be loved or all that stuff. It should be separated from how you take care of your body and your weight. The connection is not real. That's a different question. It's an emotional, feeling-based question, even spiritual question, versus a physical question. And you need to create that compartmentalization, because that's what normal people do. They don't make practical body-based health decisions based on emotion. They don't do that. It's not healthy to do that.
To just live, to try and figure out how to like myself, now to figure out how. November.
Okay, thank you to who sent me that. That was hard to get through, but I feel like oh gosh, I can't even use that word. I'm gonna have to edit that out. I feel like I let something out of my soul. I'll say that instead. I will talk to you guys later. Before I say anything else, I have to edit out. Goodbye.